Hello and welcome back to Central Cell Online. My name is Charlie.
And I'm Nick.
And welcome back to our house.
Yeah, welcome to you guys. If you're streaming in with us this evening, we're pleased to say we're being joined by youth groups from across Aylesbury.
Yes, hello to you guys who are streaming in. You are so welcome. If you're not with a youth group right now on Zoom, you totally can be, and we'd love to invite you to get involved.
Yeah, you can check the description and find links to register at Aylesbury Vale Youth for Christ, and they'll hook you up with a lovely youth group that you can hang out with every week, even if you don't go to a church.
The plan for Central Cell Online is to guide you through some stuff in the Bible, and sometimes alongside that we will be discussing topical themes. We're now into the second week of our relationship series, and today is all about friendship. But keep your Bibles handy, as there will be some passages you can delve into along the way.
So the plan for this evening, there will be two sections. In each section there will be a short talk from one of the youth workers, and then we'll hear some thoughts from you guys, young people across the town, and then we'll give you a chance to discuss the questions in your youth groups.
Yep, and then we'll end our time together with a chance to think through what we may want to do differently in life, and a chance to pray together in our groups.
Still sounds great. So at Central Cell we always begin with an icebreaker question, so we're going to jump right into that now. Off we go.
What is your favourite TV romance?
Probably the Peter-Elizabeth relationship from White Collar.
To be honest, I don't really like romance TV shows and films.
Well, I'm not into romance.
That can be quite funny at times.
I'd say I'm more of like an action. I like a bit of like Marvel and stuff like that.
They're just really not my type. I just don't like them.
Yeah, and romances aren't really for me.
Yeah. Just can't stand them.
But yeah, maybe in the future I might watch one if I'm bored, but yeah.
Well, Charlie, I know you love a good rom-com. Do you have a favourite TV romance?
Well, it's a bit boring, but no. Not really. I love rom-coms. Just any kind of romantic comedy, great, right on my street.
It's true.
And in the question, James mentioned Ross and Rachel, didn't he? Like, I mean, it's a classic. Who doesn't love Ross and Rachel, if you know Friends? So I couldn't think of another one. Like, I just love everybody. It's so boring.
What a
But
cop-out.
I kept thinking of The Holiday, because I love that film. You know, the one you watch every Christmas, with Cameron Diaz
Yeah.
and Jude Law. You know, who are they? Amanda and Graham?
Graham.
Anyway,
Graham.
yeah, Graham. American accent. I can't do that. Sorry, won't try that again. But yeah, that's probably who then I went back to. But yeah, a bit boring. Sorry.
Sure. No, it's not boring. It's good. I'm glad I didn't have to answer that question, that's for sure. But as Charlie said, our pal James is joining us tonight to speak. He's the youth worker at Southcourt Baptist Church. Hello to Southcourt Baptist, and I'm sure will be a familiar face to many of the rest of you. He's going to give us some thoughts on the theme of friendship.
But before we hear from James, let's read the Bible passage he has given us for the first section of his talk. It is from Colossians chapter 3, and it's verses 12 to 17, and it says this. Since God chose you to be the holy people he loves, you must clothe yourselves with tender-hearted mercy, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. Make allowance for each other's faults and forgive anyone who offends you. Remember, the Lord forgave you, so you must forgive others. Above all, clothe yourselves with love, which binds us all together in perfect harmony, and let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts. For as members of one body, you are called to live in peace and always be thankful. Let the message about Christ in all its richness fill your lives. Teach and counsel each other with all the wisdom he gives. Sing psalms and hymns and spiritual songs to God with thankful hearts. And whatever you do or say, do it as a representative of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks through him to God the Father.
If you've ever asked anyone for dating advice, you probably won't be surprised that the answer you probably get is something like, get to know them first as a friend. Be friends together before you date one another. Get to know what they like and what they don't like. Get to know what they're interested in. See whether you've got hobbies in common that you can do together. You see, every great relationship starts with a good friendship. The solid foundation of relationships is built on really good friendships. That's what we see in this passage. We see it so much in the values that this passage gives to us. You know, humility, compassion, kindness, patience. These are all great values that will help to build really strong friendships. Have a think about the friendships that you have, you know, your friends, especially your best friends. They are probably your best friends because in your friendship you display a lot of these values, maybe whether you realise it or not. You know, your true friends are the people that are there for you when you're going through tough times. They're the ones that come and they sit with you and just be there with you. They're the ones that are real and honest with you. They don't lie to you. They don't hide who they are to be around you, but they're true and they'll tell you how it is. You know, you may disagree with each other. You may fall out. You may not always see eye to eye, but your friendship is so much bigger than that. And great relationships are built on the same foundations. If you have a great friendship with somebody, before you get into a relationship with them, that friendship will see you through your relationship. You know, when you maybe have fights together, you don't always see eye to eye, you know, the friendship that you have will be the core that takes you through your relationship. Your love for one another will be stronger than just about how the person looks or how they act. It will be so much deeper than it is on the surface level. This passage calls for us to make active and conscious decisions about how we treat our friends. And especially if you're thinking of dating somebody, this passage gives you great advice for starting a friendship to build into a relationship. You see, we should treat each other all in this way because we are God's chosen people. And when you see other people through that lens, then you see how easy it is to display these values in our friendships. I really believe that these values are the strong, solid bedrock of every great friendship, and they therefore will be the great values and bedrock foundation of really good relationships as well.
James, thank you so much for that. That was wonderful. We're going to hear some more from James again later, but we're now going to hear from some of you guys, and then we will have a chance to discuss what we've just heard about in our groups.
Yeah, as usual, we've designed the questions so that the first one is relatively straightforward, the second one is a bit more difficult, and the third one is more difficult again, maybe next to impossible. But all we're trying to do is encourage you just to dig deep as you think about these questions, just to challenge you guys to think as deeply as you can about them.
Yeah, and if you're watching this live right now, as always, if you get into a really good discussion and time is ticking away, please feel free to pause the video and go with what you're talking about. We always say it every time, you are welcome to keep up with us, but you really don't have to.
And don't worry about answering all the questions as well. You don't have to do all three. You don't have to do all three. You might just do one in each section. That's absolutely fine. You might want to just focus on one particular thing. But your youth leader will sort out which ones they think are most significant for you.
Brilliant. So here are some thoughts from you guys, followed by some questions for you to have a think through.
What does a healthy friendship look like?
I think a healthy relationship is when two people keeping in touch, they love each other.
There would be a lot of trust and loyalty.
There's no kind of real hatred to each other.
A healthy friendship probably looks like that you maybe talk to them, and one person doesn't talk to you.
They kind of meeting up, even if it's just going to the park, catching up.
The most, I think, it's a two-way thing.
And care, kindness.
Also, not hiding any secrets from each other.
And most people should talk to each other the same amount. It should be one person. I think there shouldn't be any should be one person carrying the friendship.
I guess that's a healthy relationship.
Stuff like that.
I think that's a healthy friendship for me.
So, do you have a friend that has made a lasting impact on your life?
I have many friends. I mean, without wanting to, inflate his ego, Tom has been a good friend to me. We've known each other for 12 odd years.
You might be watching this.
I know, that's right. We've known each other 12 years, went to uni together, we've been part of each other's lives ever since. So he's been a good mate who's impacted me. One person I'm really thinking of is a guy called Tim, actually. So when I first did my gap year at Aylesbury Youth for Christ, actually, back in 2007, 2008. Getting on, yeah. I had a mentor called Tim, who was a worship leader, and he was just really, it was just brilliant just to meet up with him every few weeks. We went for coffee, we chatted, we prayed, and although I'm not so much in touch with him now, those times were so good for me, really quite profound. So, and that's introduced me to things like mentoring, which I just totally believe in. So
if any of you have got the chance to meet up with someone who you just respect so much, who's a bit older, a bit wiser and all that kind of thing, do it. It's just brilliant. They're the people that have impacted me most as well, those older, more wise people. Anyway, James is going to read the next part of the Bible passage for us as part of his talk, so we're going to head back over there now.
Listen to this passage from the Bible. You are the salt of the earth, but if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. I don't know if you've ever been to McDonald's and you've been eating your meal and your chips just don't really taste correct. They don't taste right. And you realise it's because they've not got enough salt on them and they don't taste all that good. Or whether you've been to a gig or an event, maybe a festival, and people put their torches on their phones and they wave them about and you can see it and it looks amazing. I experienced this once at the Big Church Day Out festival. It was the last day and the speaker got people to put their torch lights on and shine them if they'd just become a Christian. And you could turn around and see all of these lights in the darkness lighting up, and it was an amazing thing to see and to witness. This passage reminds us that we are meant to be, as Christians, we're meant to be light into the darkness. And also maybe we're meant to be hope into hopeless situations as well. And a bit like those McDonald's chips, as Christians, we have a flavour about us. It tells us that we are the salt of the earth. You know, we have a flavour, we're salty. And other people around us, by hearing how we speak, maybe seeing how we act, they should be able to see God's fingerprints on us. They should be able to see something of God in the way we live and act out our lives. That's what it means to be the salt of the earth, to be light into the darkness. We are kind of made, sometimes whether we like it or not, to stand out from the crowd. And take a minute to think about your friendships. And what do your friendships require of you? Do your friends accept you as who you are? Even though you may stand out from the crowd a bit, do they accept you as who you are? Or do they kind of make you conform to be someone else? Do they make you like a lamp hide under a bowl? Or do they allow you to be on full display and be who you are, be true to yourself as a Christian with what you believe? I think this passage is really good at reminding us that as Christians, we are called to be a little bit different and to stand out from the crowd. And that's okay to be like that. I know that social media and stuff around our world today can make it seem really hard, like we have to conform to certain patterns, but we don't. As Christians, we are made to be light in the darkness. We are made to be salty and to have a flavour. And I want to remind you of that tonight. That it's okay to stand out from the crowd, and your true friends will accept you for who you are. They won't ask you to be something else. As Christians, we are made to be light into dark places, and we're made to have saltiness and have a flavour about us that people see as we live and we act out our lives.
How do we bring salt and light to our friendships and relationships?
I'm not really sure.
I think it's trying to say in this passage is like, kind of, there is no darkness.
It's quite a hard one.
You can bring light, like leading by example.
I think we bring light to our friendships and relationships as a good thing, and to maybe like show a way through all the darkness.
Like a healthy relationship could also be there's kind of no darkness in the relationship. It's all light.
And maybe like a light to guide relationships and friendships in a good way, I think.
As it says, you are like the light for the whole world. So I guess, like, for example, spreading a positive message is giving light out to the world, giving happiness, giving hope, giving peace.
But I'm not sure about salt. I think I get the light, but I don't get the salt.
Yeah, I don't know.
And just spreading kindness, I guess.
Hi guys, welcome back. There were some great questions there. I hope you had a good time discussing those.
So now we're moving into our second to last bit. This is where you've got a little bit of time in your groups to think of one thing in this week that you might take up, give up, or change up in response to some of the stuff you've been thinking about in your groups.
The reason we do this is so that after reading our Bibles together and thinking through these themes, reflecting on those things can be a super helpful way to get the most out of our session. It's only for 4 minutes or so why don't we give that a go now? Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you found that useful. The last thing we do now is finish with a chance to pray together in our small groups. And this is something we do every Central Cell. It'll be something that you're used to by now if you are a regular. But if you don't normally pray, don't worry too much. Your youth leader will guide you through the whole thing. But maybe you want to give it a go. Maybe now's your time.
We'd love that. Yeah, if that's you, brilliant. We've given 10 minutes for this, which does sound like a long time, but it actually goes really quickly. So please don't feel like you have to stop when that time runs out. Just ignore us, forget the timer. If you're in the zone, if you're praying, if you're chatting and getting into some stuff, let that happen. So let's spend a little bit of time praying, and we'll see you in about 10 minutes. So that is the end of our session this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We've loved it, and thank you so much to our friend James and those of you answering the questions as well. That's been great. Brilliant.
Yes, thank you so much to you guys. And if you're watching this stream on your own and you'd like to join in with a local youth group, just head over to our website. The links are in the description below this video for you to register, and then we will put you in touch with one of the youth leaders and one of the youth groups to be part of a church there.
And as ever, if you'd like to help us by filming responses to some questions, regardless of whether you go to church or not, we would just love that. So do get in touch with us, with Youth for Christ or whatever, or with your youth leader. That would be great.
Brilliant, yeah. And next week our theme is flirting. So we'll see you then for that. Hopefully that'll be a lot of fun.
Indeed.
Thanks so much for coming.
See ya.
Bye.